Hey guys, Moms Against Medical Bullying. So I just wanted to talk about, or I just wanted to share with you guys really quick, something that I was fascinated by today. And I want you guys to share your thoughts too, so you can share them in the comments if you have any knowledge or ideas about what I'm going to speak about. So today I had a conversation with someone who is a scientist slash chemist. You know, scientist, chemist, a chemist, scientist. And I was really fascinated by what he was saying. So he works for a company that makes tons of products, but he specifically works in the department of creating perfumes for the detergents that this company makes. And like, I was already fascinated. I'm like, okay, how does this happen? Like, you have to tell me, like, how does this work, right? So basically his part of the job is to create he said all his work is done on the computer, on software. And he doesn't really work hands-on with making the perfumes in a lab, but he creates the molecular structures or puts them together, and then the lab does their thing. But he does all the work on the software. So, and I might not reiterate everything that he told me the way that he told it to me, because I was also, you know, when somebody's explaining concepts to you, you're engaged and you're listening, but you're also trying to wrap your mind around what they're saying. So let's see, I wrote some notes to make sure that I said everything. So how he said that the perfumes are made was very fascinating, and I could feel that there was almost a direct parallel between his line of work and pharmaceutical companies' lines of work, right? Because, I mean, they do say big food, big pharma, ag, all this stuff is connected. It's kind of like this whole biomolecular world. So anyways, so I saw a parallel between what he was saying about how okay, so first of all, he said he has some softwares, and I guess I'm assuming what they try to do is recreate smells, maybe smells that are natural, and then they make synthetic ones, so they play around. So they have this software where they have the molecular structure of these smells, and then they try to match it or something, or create their own by using this software. Something like that, something of that nature. But when he was saying that, there was a parallel in my mind being drawn to the pharmaceutical world and how they create V's. I'll just say V's. I can't say the bad V word on YouTube, I guess. Or I'll use the word proteins in exchange. So how they create proteins through using these molecules. And then I was reading, I was reading online, this article on livescience.com said that RNA is a molecule. So in that world, they use molecules to create proteins. I'm just like, my mind is just like going off in like different directions as he's talking to me. I'm like, whoa, okay. So anyways, so he matches molecules to structures already known by using computer software. So then I also was watching a video on YouTube called The Science of Scent. If you look it up, you can find it. It's only like 15 minutes. It's a TED Talk. And he said that somebody had wanted him to make this smell. I forgot what it's called now. But the actual substance that makes that smell is toxic. It's carcinogenic. So his job was to create a molecular structure that would release that smell, but I guess without being carcinogenic. And then it's patented as another, as a whatever, they patented it with a certain name, just like they do with these proteins. They patent them with specific names. So yeah, everything he does is on the computer, which reminded me of all the bio and gen tech stuff going on. I wrote, the biomolecular world seems to cross over in all areas. Sorry guys, I'm like referring to my notes because there was so much that I had jumbled up in my mind about it all. I was like fascinated. I wrote the parallel I saw was how in the pharmaceutical area they play with molecules of DNA and RNA to create certain proteins, and they have their own softwares, which if you listen to any of Dr. Kaufman's teachings, he talks about, you know, the software they use to create the name of this current protein, and everything like that, which I've listened to it, but it's like with things like this, it's almost like you have to listen and listen again and listen again and again to really understand what's going on. So, in his work, molecules create sense, and then in that area, you know, molecules create proteins. I don't know, I'm probably off base. I was just trying, it's like when you're listening to something new, like you try to draw parallels, and it was just like, wow. So another thing I found interesting on the video that I watched, The Science of Sense, that the guy said that they were curious as to how these molecules made their smell, or how we smelled these molecules. Was it because of their structure, or was it because of their vibration? So that took it to a next level of like, whoa. So he found out that, so there were two different molecules that had the same shape, the same structure, but they had totally different smells. So for him, that was like, okay, so that's obviously not true. And he said, well, what if it's the molecular vibration? Because he said molecules are able to vibrate at certain frequency. So he found another molecule that vibrated at the same frequency that this molecule did, and they both had the same smell, although they were structurally different, I guess. And which also made me think about our DNA and our vibrations of our DNA. Which, I mean, all of this ties into everything. It ties into the 5G and the electromagnetic waves and frequencies. And Amanda Vollmer blew my mind when she said something about wool and linen are at 500 megahertz or something like that, which they're really good to wear. They're protective. All this stuff kind of just blows my mind, if you know what I mean. I'm just like, wow, so cool. You know, there's this whole world, you know, that people don't necessarily pay attention to, you know, because it's not necessarily in the visible realm for us. It's kind of like only a certain group of people get to see this world in action. And what sucks is that, you know, the mainstream science, you know, rules over all this knowledge, and they're the only, you know, there's a small subgroup that can see these things and everything, and we're supposed to trust them for our information, right? Which, you know, it sucks because we know that there's deception too. So just trying to understand these things, while keeping in mind that we also don't want to believe, you know, lies or agendas. So, he also, was that for Sandalwood? Yeah, he said molecules are able to vibrate at certain frequencies. Things with similar vibrations produce the same smell, and we smell molecular vibrations. I'm trying to read my notes here. Sorry. So yeah, what he did to make, so somebody, I said this before, but somebody wanted him to make a certain smell. So he said they calculated the vibrational spectrums of the molecules to try to recreate certain smells. That's pretty fascinating to me how all that works. I didn't know the perfume world was so interesting. But anyways, I said all that to say that it reminds me of, you know, how they use these, you know, molecules to create proteins, and, or so I'm assuming. And my line of thought is, you know, what are they doing with these injections? Like, they're obviously not dumb. You know what I mean? They obviously have some knowledge of how to playing around with genetics, playing around with these molecules. What is their goal? Like, I don't think their goal is necessarily for everyone to drop dead. You know, I don't know what their agenda is, how they're wanting to influence our bodies, what they want to influence our bodies to do, you know, whether that be to create chronic disease down the road. Yeah. So anyways, I'm gonna end it there. All I have really is thoughts and questions and inquiries, and basically fascination. But if you have anything helpful to share, share it down below, and thank you for watching.